What is up, guys? I know it has been quite a while since I did a video, so I'm gonna try and make up for it and post a video a day for the next little while until I finish this. Um, where did we leave off? We're on our date with Lily. So maybe I don't hate her for it. Not that I really ever did, but I don't know. I don't know at this point either. Probably a more non-committal answer than I should give, but it isn't without cause. I've never looked at this situation from Iwanako's perspective like that before. Seconds pass in silence before Lily speaks again. Moving to Yamako must have been hard for you, having your friends and even your girlfriend taken from you for no fault of your own. The worst part of it passed while I was in the hospital, when all that surrounds you is four white walls, a small television. Your mind takes on a life of its own. Well, yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like my old school, I guess. I just try not to dwell on what happened and keep thinking ahead. That's good on you. Good on you, Seo. All that reminiscing does is get me down, and it's largely thanks to you that it feels like things are finally getting back on track. Yes, it is. That's pleasing to hear, Haseo. She lowers her face slightly, her expression pensive. I guess I went too far and embarrassed her. I suppose you went through something a bit like that like what I did when you entered Yamaku anyway, right? I imagine the vast majority of our school students did, after all. You said yourself that you made friends in your old school. I can't imagine many followed you. Lily's deep smile drops, her expression unexpectedly darkening. Even her hands retreat to her lap. After a long while, she speaks. Hiseo, can you promise not to tell anyone else what I'm about to? I promise. She looks slightly taken aback by my serious tone, but then relents and smiles weakly before continuing. When I moved to Yamaku, I did regret losing the friends I'd had at my other school. Well, yeah, that's kind of obvious. But there was one person whom I regretted not seeing again. He was the reason I took up English as a future career. He? Considering she came from an all-girls school, that can't have been a schoolmate then. I rejected the confessions I'd received until then for him. Every time I improved my English skills, his praise was my most treasured reward. It's funny, isn't it? Someone like me, able to boast about the people who have set eyes on me, liking someone so utterly unattainable as my tutor. Oh, she liked the teacher type. It truly is the most ridiculous thing. Did you... She quickly shakes her head from side to side. Oh, Lily. I couldn't. Even then, I knew it was impossible. A silence reigns over both of us. This does not seem to explain her ardent focus on her future in teaching English, but I can't help thinking of her confession to me. She lost him without even letting her feelings be known. Did she somehow fear that would happen again, but with me? I don't really know what to make of it. I've heard of such relationships before, taboos born of such things as puberty and youth. The fact that she had good judgment not to act on it, though, is heartening. I know this might sound strange, but please don't think of me. Why would I think any less of you for that? To be honest, I think he must have been a very special person if you liked him so much. Not only that, but you stopped yourself before going too far. For a moment, she looks somewhat lost, most unexpectedly, though. It isn't a second before she starts to laugh. The sound takes me off guard. It's not a giggle nor a restrained chuckle, but an honest, genuine laughter. Aw. I find myself smiling, and not just at her display of relief and happiness, but for her to trust me enough to let me see this most private of secrets. Fancy. Before I realize it, I feel her palm touching my face. Her touch is gentle as ever, with her thumb slowly stroking my cheek. You're kind, Hiseo. I really do love you. Seeing her face like this, with her palm caressing my face, I think tonight has been a wonderful night. I guess we've both had pretty weird pasts, eh? I think by most standards, our present is rather odd as well. I smile and hang my head. This woman can easily run rings around me. Of that, I'm quite sure. I look back around the room with its continuing quiet hum of patrons. This place probably fits into that odd category too. It is a tad overbearing. That's one word for it, yes. The fancy restaurant, a tad overbearing? Like, you guys are high school students. obviously. I catch the eye of a scurrying waiter, a short, scrawny guy no older than 20. He kind of reminds me of Kenji, though unlike him, the waiter isn't dressed for winter during midsummer. After a curt bow, and an offer to remove our plates, Lily asks for the bill politely and softly. With expert coordination, he maneuvers around the tables, our plates in hand, to retrieve our bill. In no time, he reappears through the door, smartly handing the bill to Lily, who promptly hands it to me, causing me to raise an eyebrow. As I read the small computer-printed leaflet, the cost is considerably more than I expected. Hiseo? I quickly stammer out the amount, to which Lily merely nods and reaches for her purse. Giving her card to the waiter, he disappears once again. That was a disproportionately large amount of money. The statement seems to make Lily slightly uncomfortable. My family leaves me more than enough for my education. The same goes for my sister, though she dislikes being reminded of that fact. That said, I too dislike throwing money about, but this one time I think I can make an exception, just for you. Do I sense a little condescension? Not only did you choose our date, but you paid for both of us as well. I take the bridge of my nose in my fingers. I can't believe how high you have set the bar for our next date. She gives me a small giggle. I'll be looking forward to it, Hiseo. The waiter reappears beside us, as if by magic, and hands Lily's card back to her. Evidently picking up on her lack of sight, he places the card in her hands with extra, perhaps unneeded, amount of firmness to make sure of her grip. Leaving, he exercises a measure of diplomacy by keeping a neutral face despite my own expression. Clapping my hands together, I stand up from my seat in order to bring an end to our night out. Shall we be off then, milady? I'll go fancy. Yeah, that's the end of the date. Yeah, that took a little bit longer to finish, but let's see. Let's go a little bit more because this is kind of a short clip. Yeah. I snap upwards out of my sheets and sit bolt upright in my bed as if an electric shock had just run through my entire body. The night air feels cold against the sweat on my bare skin, my breathing short and rugged nearly to the point of hyperventilation. Mind racing, I bring my hand to my head to an attempt to soothe my body's panicked state. It takes a number of seconds to realize my hand is shaking violently even as I press it against my face. More seconds pass in complete silence, my desperate attempts to subdue my body and mind slowly, thankfully, working. Gathering myself, I start taking measure of the state I'm in. It feels like I've run a marathon, every muscle feeling tensed and sweat practically pouring off me. That's just gross. I carefully direct my attention to the beating in my chest, measuring out the rhythm in my head. Sure enough, my unreliable heart is functioning properly for once. Just what the hell was that? A heart attack? A bad nightmare? Medicine side effects? I've heard about panic attacks, and this does seem to have the hallmarks of one. I can't even be bothered thinking about it right now. I feel utterly exhausted, yet completely awake after this experience. I look over to the side of my bed, the pale white of the silent figure's face almost glowing in the nighttime darkness of the room. Just the sight of her is enough to calm me down significantly. Her graceful demeanor persists even while she's asleep. Her perfectly measured breathing and gentle face make it impossible to tell whether she's awake or truly sleeping. Giving in to temptation, I delicately run my fingertips over her hand. Her skin is soft to the touch, as it always has been, yet warm, even in the cold of night. It's at times like this, silently appreciating each other's presence, that I feel we're the closest. My fingers stop at her wrist, and I bring my hand back down to the bed beside me. I'm not entirely sure why, but as we become even closer to each other, it felt as if something grew between us. I'm not entirely sure what it is, nor whether it existed before we'd fallen in love. Everything is moving so fast. I don't mind it at all, but it feels unlike Lily to be pushing things this much. I think, yeah, it's a bit shorter, but I'll stop here because it's the morning and it's a new day. So remember to like the video and keep watching, and hopefully I will bring up more videos in the near future. So you know, do all that good stuff, subscribe, and tell your friends. I am thinking of doing some more Amnesia commentary when I get done with this, and I will actually, for those of you who already know, the ending kind of splits at my gameplay. I've finished the game, so I know what happens. So I will do a side side set of videos for the real ending. So just be sure to wait for that. And yeah, thanks for watching.